status. We'll discuss that and more as we dive into today's top stories. I'm Celeste Diaz-Sherman.
And I'm Ernie Manous. We'll also hear from State Representative Gene Wu, who responds to be calling the ringleader of the fleeing Democrats by Governor Abbott. He'll also share his thoughts on why he and other Texas House Democrats felt it was necessary to break quorum and leave the state.
And I'm Frank Billingsley. Plus, we'll also look at why Houston has emerged as the cultural and artistic epicenter of the entire state of Texas.
And as Frank, Celeste, and I discuss the top stories of the day, we want your thoughts, questions, and concerns. Give us a call or text at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. President Trump is expected to sign an executive order today that could open the door for 401k retirement plans to include alternative investments like real estate and even digital assets. NPR's Danielle Kurtzleben reports Trump and his family have a growing business interest in cryptocurrency.
The executive order instructs cabinet officials and financial regulators to determine the next steps to change regulations. The new types of assets, including private equity and cryptocurrency, are considered riskier than traditional 401k investments than stocks and bonds. Trump's family has a growing financial interest in cryptocurrency in particular. They started a digital assets business, World Liberty Financial, last year, and Trump's social media company also announced earlier this year they were raising billions to purchase Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin jumped after news of the executive order broke. Danielle Kurtzleben, NPR News.
While the Trump administration looks to reshape retirement savings, it's also taking a tougher stance on trade. A new round of tariffs kicked in today on major U.S. trading partners. NPR's Scott Horsley reports that could mean higher prices on everyday items, including coffee.
For the last 4 months, the U.S. has been charging a 10% tax on most of what we import. As of today, that's going to 15% on goods from Europe, Japan, South Korea. Even higher tax rates are taking effect on goods from countries like the Philippines, Switzerland, and South Africa. The tax on many Canadian goods jumped to 35% last week. And the president just imposed a 50% tax on goods from Brazil, which is the world's #1 coffee producer.
That's NPR's Scott Horsley reporting. The Israeli cabinet is expected to vote tonight on whether to expand the war in Gaza into a full reoccupation. NPR's Eleanor Beardsley reports that would mean sending ground troops into a small section of Gaza not under direct Israeli military control and where 2 million people have sought refuge.
Michael Milstein is head of the Palestinian Studies Forum at Tel Aviv University. He's also a former intelligence officer for the Israeli military. He says reoccupying Gaza is a terrible idea. First of all, many more civilians and soldiers would die, but Israel would also be responsible for civilian life.
Israel will have to invest dozens of billions in order to establish a new life in Gaza. I mean, apartments and hospitals and schools and water pipes and everything.
Neither the West nor Arab nations would contribute, he says, because that's a red line for them. And it would also ruin any prospect for diplomatic ties with countries like Saudi Arabia and could even threaten Israel's 1979 peace deal with Egypt, a bedrock of its security in the region. Eleanor Beardsley, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
This is NPR News in Washington.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. Today marks the start of the fourth full day that Texas Democrats are out of the state, protesting a mid-decade redistricting effort during this special legislative session. Texas senators were joined by Democratic lawmakers from across the country yesterday. That plan, backed by President Donald Trump, would create up to 5 new Republican-held congressional seats in Texas. State Senator Carol Alvarado of Houston says the redistricting push amounts to an attack on democracy.
With no new census, no new data, and no legitimate reason except to serve one man's political ambition.
Democrats in the House left the state to prevent the redistricting plan from coming to a vote in the chamber. Houston ISD students go back to school Tuesday, and teachers will be receiving a state-funded pay raise based on performance. News 88.7's Kyle McClanagan spoke with teachers about the new raise as they filed out of a district convocation Wednesday.
Cheers erupted as teachers left Del Mar Stadium in brightly colored shirts representing their campus regions. Ariane Brown, an English teacher at Briar Grove Elementary, says the state-funded pay raise is welcome, regardless of how it's being distributed.
I feel a little indifferent about it, Okay. Share the wealth, share the love. We're doing a hard job. Everybody deserves a piece of the pie.
The teacher pay raises were approved by the state legislature as part of an $8.5 billion school funding plan. The plan requires districts to distribute raises based on experience. HISD is using an exemption that allows the district to allocate raises based on performance rather than experience. The Houston Teachers Union is suing the district, arguing that the district is not exempt. I'm Kyle McClinigan, News 88.7.
In sports, the Astros are slowly losing their lead in their division. After leading the Mariners by 7 games at one point earlier this season, that lead is now down to just 2 after a 6-4 loss to the Miami Marlins last night. The Astros now turn their attention to the New York Yankees tomorrow, who just snapped a 5-game losing streak. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Charles Schwab, offering investors choices like full-service wealth management, advice, investing, and trading on Thinkorswim. Learn more at schwab.com. And from the Doris Duke Foundation.
Live from the University of Houston, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Hello, Houston.
Hello, Houston. It is August 7th.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us today.
It is indeed. In fact, more people are joining us on YouTube.
How do you do that, Frank?
What?
Join us on YouTube.
Go to hellohouston.org and click the big orange banner. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
We made it so easy. There's a Watch Live, so you go to Watch Live, and then that'll take you to our Houston Public Media page where all of our episodes are, and you just click on the one that says Live, and there you have it.
And it's us.
And we know that the majority of our listeners, though, during this time do listen to us on 88.7, so we want to thank them as well if you're listening to us on your radio or in your office.
Wherever you
are, we want to thank you.
Always call us, text us, 713-440-8870. Join the conversation, or also drop us an email, talk@hellohouston.org. Later in the show, if we have time, we're going to get to our current obsessions. So if you have one, start sending those in now. These are the things that just kind of take over your life, or for me, they're the things that I get lost in on YouTube when I'm searching online.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah, all of a sudden I need to know every way you can poach an egg, and I'm not going to stop until I've seen every video about it.
And I know on Monday I had teased today's current obsession, and we did have a couple people throughout the week send them. So I have those flagged, and we'll make sure we get to those as well that have been coming in throughout the week.
So if you want yours, give us a text or email us right now, talk@hellohouston.org.
Fine. Weather's hot. It's been 100 degrees Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and probably today.
But what happened yesterday?
The storms?
Yes.
It kind of went right down I-10.
Yeah.
It was like a trucker, just I-10 east to I-10 west. But it was noisy.
Yeah, it was very noisy.
And some light. And we may see a couple of those again. Mm-hmm. They are actually kind of nice for the break, but then all of that rain that you get produces the humidity, so it makes for a stuffy evening, that's for sure.
Well, I went and I had bought, on a deep, deep sale, I'm very much a bargain hunter, an inflatable movie screen. I have one of the regular ones you set up with the frame and all that for outdoor movies, but I wanted an inflatable one. And my plan was when I got home from work last night, I was going to plug it in and see exactly what I bought. And the rain was there. And then I thought, if I open it up, it's going to get wet on the ground and all that. So
how big is it?
They say 9.5 feet diagonally.
Okay.
But I'm not sure how much is the inflatable framing and what exactly is the. So I've got to check it all out.
Oh. Yeah. Fine.
I'll tell you one other thing about the storms, though, that I found very fascinating. It's when I was driving, I could see down the road ahead of me, and about 6 blocks ahead of me, I saw a solid sheet of rain. Mm-hmm. Usually I'll see like a tapering kind of thing, and that was like, no, there is the rain wall.
Yeah.
And it was so weird to see that.
Tropical downpours, that's what they do. They just, bam.
Yeah, just a wall of it.
Yes,
right.
and there's already a few showers down at the coast, so don't be surprised to see a few more of those in the afternoon.
And you know the last question on everything about weather? The weekend is going to be?
The same. I think probably maybe a little drier.
Okay.
But, as opposed to this afternoon, maybe more isolated, but no big changes. Even in the next week, it's going to be, the high pressure's in control of things. But we're also lucky that the storms have been, as far as tropical storms, have been off into the Atlantic, nothing in the Gulf. Mm-hmm. So that's good. It's a little active in the Atlantic, but that's their problem.
Well, on today's show, things that are active in the world around us continuing. Is Texas making national news with our state representatives from the State House on the run, as some have said? We'll be talking with Gene Wu, who the governor has referred to as the ringleader of the fleeing Democrats. And we'll be talking to him in just a little bit, and you'll get all the ins and outs of what's going on there. This was actually a recorded conversation, so it was done yesterday afternoon. I say that simply because this story just keeps changing.
Continues to evolve. And so we will continue to make sure that we are bringing you the latest of that. But we are all very much looking forward to hearing the conversation that Ernie had with, again, Representative Gene Wu yesterday.
And I mention all that because your top story you're going to take us into right now is not reflected in our conversation because we didn't know this was going to happen. What happened now?
Yes, with preparations for the 2030 census already underway, President Trump said Thursday he has instructed his administration to start work on a new census. In a social media post, President Trump also called for an unprecedented exclusion of millions of people living in the U.S. without legal status. The 14th Amendment requires the whole number of persons in each state to be included in a key set of census numbers used to determine how presidents and members of Congress are elected. Trump said he's instructed the Commerce Department, which oversees the Census Bureau, to immediately begin work on a census using, quote, the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024, end quote. So it's unclear why the election results would matter to the census, and the press offices for the White House, Commerce Department, and Census Bureau did not immediately respond to NPR's request for comment. Now is the time to chime in. You can give us a call at 713-440-8870. And we want to hear, what are your thoughts and what do you think about this census situation?
Well, the census doesn't discriminate. The census counts everybody in the United States regardless of legal status.
And the reason for that is the census doesn't just predict redistricting and that aspect of it. It also is about monies allotted to the states to take care of the populations in those states. So if there are infrastructure projects and all of that kind of stuff, that is determined by the census, the amounts of money that they get for it. So to have a total number of people, regardless of their status, is important to know because you have to know how many human beings are in your area to be able to provide for them in the way that a government does for people.
And according to the Constitution, our American Constitution, the president does not have final authority over the census, which makes me then just feel like we understand that the President Trump, kind of his style, just looking at it from a presidential... overreach, but also he likes to kind of throw things out there. And I think that I'm honestly just kind of personally tired of hearing these really kind of just outlandish things that, is it really going to go anywhere?
Except for the fact that they've already said that they are beginning the process since he has asked for it. The department already has. So it's not just that he tweeted it, it has actually had action beginning on
Well,
it.
the preparations for the 2030 census
those
have
already
have started.
But this morning after this tweet came out, then they said that they will start to look.
Exactly. Start to look. And to me, I mean, we understand that means, okay, they're going to look into it. It will go, if it does go forward, it will end up in some type of court situation. And it's just fatigue. And I think that at the end of the day, that's even concerning that we're at a fatigue, because then you start kind of zoning out.
We're not even 8 months into this.
And exactly. And tuning out. And then it makes me wonder, you know, we're looking at these things about the census. We understand in the Constitution the president does not have final authority. So then I have to think, what is real legislation and policy and active things right now that the president or his administration are moving forward that will have real, long-lasting implications on American people?
Well, what we're seeing is what we thought was just tariffs. But what we thought was just an idea thrown out there was this redistricting, and it is happening in Texas, and there is a move, and that will have long. And if this continues, now J.D. Vance is meeting in another state to talk to them today about whether or not they should redistrict. So it's starting to chip away at the foundation of our entire organization as a democracy. So it does have long term. My favorite comment, though, or favorite line you read this morning in this script was, it's unclear why the election results would matter to the census. Is it really unclear what they're trying to do?
You know, but you know what else is unclear? If the president is calling for this, we understand the census to be looked at and changed. The census doesn't happen until 2030. And so then is he referring to the regular scheduled national head count, which would be happening in 2030, or does he want it to happen earlier?
Well, and don't forget, this is a bit of a slap in the face to people that are in this country. You're saying if you don't have full citizenship, then you don't count as far as being represented. Never mind, these people are trying to become citizens of this country.
Right.
You know, you're assuming that just because they're here, that their interests don't matter, and they don't matter.
And we understand that the process to become a citizen is very long, and there's people that have certain visas and exemptions and things. So then, who is going to decide about?
Right. That's why you count everybody. And it started when slaves were counted as 3/5 of a person. And the 14th Amendment said, whoa, everybody counts. Yep. Everybody counts. One person. In fact, we used to have one person, one vote. And then the Electoral College really screwed that up. But that's where this started, was we count every person in this country because they matter. Right. And their interests matter. And as Ernie said, the commerce of that matters. That's why this is under the Commerce Department, because it does count as what kind of money goes to the states to take care of everyone. And I don't know why Trump is doing this, except to try to say, you know what, these states that have, like California, that probably have a lot of undocumented people, we're going to pare down their count into the legislature.
And the other part of that is it really puts people that are already in vulnerable positions to be in even more vulnerable positions, because when you don't count every single person and you have somebody in here that is potentially working for
paying taxes and everything
and working, then people are more likely to take advantage of them.
Well, that's always possible. I wonder if, there's all this talk about illegal immigrants or undocumented. However you want to say it. But there's very little against the employers, and it is illegal to hire someone that is undocumented. I do wonder how long it's going to be before, just like doctors are being held responsible for people who make decisions about their bodies, and they're holding the doctors responsible, how long is it going to be before business people, or just you and me, are told, if you know of someone who is here without documentation and you don't report them, then you're just as culpable. It's like if a doctor doesn't report knowing about an abortion, or knowing even someone who has ordered abortion pills like Plan B, you could be
penalized,
responsible.
And yes, and so
is he going to turn us against each other? Is my question.
Well, I think that's already happened.
Well, he hasn't said, look, he hasn't put out an executive order that we're all responsible for finding and reporting undocumented people. I have not heard that order. But how far away are we from that?
What I mean by he's already pinned us against each other, I think that so many times, Representative James Tallarico was on our show, and he said this. He said, so many times when we're looking at policy, we're looking at it from a left versus right, but it really should be an up versus down. And I thought that was very telling. I mean, it really was very telling. But again, we are going to continue to monitor what is coming out of Austin and what is happening. I believe Ernie has.
Yeah, the reason I was quiet for so much time during that conversation, I wanted to get the actual tweet or post that Trump had made. And it said, I have instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024. People who are in our country illegally, now in all caps, will not be counted in the census. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And I bring that up because you brought up a point, Celeste, that I wanted to verify, that it doesn't say a separate census a new census, begin work on a new and highly accurate one, could still imply in the 2030 census, as you point out. And a lot of people are looking at it as he's saying start a different census. Mm-hmm. He doesn't actually say that. I wanted to verify that. Yeah, right. So thank you for bringing that up.
Sure. And coming up on Hello Houston, we will talk with State Representative Jean Wu. Actually, we will hear a conversation that Ernie had yesterday with State Representative Jean Wu, who is, according to Governor Greg Abbott, the ringleader of the fleeing Democrats. This is News 88.7. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Josh Adams, General Manager of Houston Public Media. This station just lost $2.2 million in federal support annually. To keep our station strong, we've launched the Resiliency Fund, powered by community members just like you. Your support will help bridge the funding gap and ensure these programs remain free and accessible to everyone. If public media and this station matter to you, now is the time to act. Support the Resiliency Fund today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
Thorne. I think I've looked at it before, but I don't know if I've looked at it recently.
This week on Bullseye, actor Megan Stalter of Hacks looks at her Wikipedia page for the very first time.
What does it say?
Plus, Tramel Tillman, Mr. Milchick on the great show Severance. That's on the next Bullseye from MaximumFun.org and NPR.
You can hear that tonight at 9 p.m.
Tonight on Houston Public Media TV 8, a night of mystery and intrigue with Father Brown at 7, followed by the Sister Boniface Mysteries at 8, and Death in Paradise at 9. Tonight on Houston Public Media TV 8, or stream online.
The Trump administration has said that they do not separate families, but what I found is that there have been at least 9 families that have refused to be deported to their home countries. It's at that point that the government is separating these families.
I'm Michael Barbaro. That's Today on the Daily from the New York Times.
You can hear it tonight at 7 o'clock.
Support comes from Stages, located in the heart of Montrose, and their 25-26 season, including the Lehman Trilogy, It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio play, and Spamilton, an American parody. Tickets at stageshouston.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now back to Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Continuing as one of the top stories across Texas and across the nation, the Texas House Democrats leaving the state and breaking quorum during the current special legislative session. A move they feel is necessary in stalling the passage of a new congressional district map to replace Texas' current map, a map switch that was instigated by the White House in an attempt to add 5 more Texas Republican seats to the U.S. House of Representatives. Our Republican governor, Greg Abbott, sees this move by Democrats as a dereliction of duty and on Tuesday filed a lawsuit to remove the, quote, ringleader and House Democratic Caucus Chair, Texas State Representative Jean Wu, from office. Yesterday afternoon, I had the opportunity to talk with Representative Wu, who is currently in Illinois. Here is that conversation. We're on the line right now with Jean Wu, member of the Texas House, representing Texas District 137. He also happens to be the House Democratic Caucus Chair. Representative Wu, how are you doing?
Good. How are you, Ernie?
I am doing well. I got to ask you right off the top, Governor Abbott is talking about taking legal action to remove you from office. He refers to you as the ringleader. Your reaction?
Yeah. I mean, it's just silliness on so many levels because, number one, I mean, he's not even allowed to do this. I mean, the law is black and white on this, that it has to be the Attorney General. You can't file it in the Supreme Court. And so many other things, and it's frankly embarrassing that the governor of the state of Texas, who used to be a Supreme Court justice, who used to be the Attorney General, doesn't know like such simple black and white law.
Is it that he doesn't know, or is this just great for headlines?
I don't know. I mean, is he being intentionally dumb or accidentally dumb? I don't know which one's worse. Are you Are you being deceitful or are you ignorant? Pick one. I don't know what's worse.
When we talk about deceitfulness, I think people are lost in an understanding of breaking quorum and whether or not that is a legal act or not. Is it a legal tool? Is it not? We know you are in Illinois right now, one of a group of Texas Democrats who are outside of the state to break quorum. Help us understand this.
So, number one, breaking quorum is not only legal, it's actually an established part of our laws. Breaking quorum is in the Constitution itself. It's protected by Texas law. Not only that, Texas courts, the Supreme Court of Texas itself has ruled that breaking quorum is a legitimate and valuable tool for the minority party to use when no other tool is available. And you know what, on top of that, just a cherry on top of that, there's a recent AG opinion from Attorney Ken Paxton that says exactly the same thing the court said, that quorum is established and legal, used by the minority party when there's no other option. And that's where we are. We had no other option to stop this corrupt process except to break quorum, stop them from going forward and using this opportunity as a way to warn the public of what the hell they're doing.
Mm-hmm. With breaking quorum comes the leaving of the state. Leaving of the state, meaning you're not in Texas, not able to attend the sessions in the House. So they've talked of sending out, well, first the Texas Rangers to round you all up, but that would, I guess, only work in the state of Texas. Then we're hearing about other ideas. We've even heard the president chime in a little bit on this with the FBI. What is the legality of gathering up lawmakers?
So we had discussed this with our members for a long time before we made a decision. And legally, there's nothing that the governor or Senator Cornyn or Attorney General Paxton can possibly do when we're outside of the state. And legally, there is nothing that the President of the United States could do, or the FBI or DOJ or anybody could do, unless they had a legal reason, an avenue that gives them jurisdiction to be involved. But that being said, Governor Abbott, Attorney General Paxton, and frankly, Donald Trump have a long history of not really caring what the law says. I mean, hell, we started this conversation talking about how either the governor does not know what the law is or does not care about what the law is, right? That's where our main concern is.
Are you personally concerned about this? We seem to be in a time of uncharted territory here. And with the either dismissal or reinterpreting of laws across the board, do you worry?
No, absolutely. And it's not just, I mean, like, look, the president's supporters have, said publicly, have said on social media and things that I should be dragged in the street and shot. His supporters have said that I should be denaturalized. And these are, I know these are like trolls and cranks, but, these are real fears that we have. And it's not just me. Other members they have different fears, but we all share in this in one way or the other. And we all made the decision that this still, given the risks, given the risk to us legally, given the risk to us physically, this is still absolutely the right thing to do because we did not have another choice. There was not another option.
When you say that there's not another option, this can only last so long. The governor can keep calling special sessions. You folks can stay out of town as long as you can. Eventually, I assume that ends. What is the plan moving forward? So
I think it's really important to talk about the idea that this is not our decision. The decision, the people who have been in power, the people who hold all the cards and have made all the decisions are the Republicans, is Attorney General Paxton, is Greg Abbott, is Donald Trump. Because Governor Abbott could very easily have said, instead of saying, we're going to send the dogs after you, he could have easily said, you know what, I think I was too harsh about this. It was wrong for me to put my political agenda ahead of the interests of the victims of the Kurgan disaster, the communities who are waiting for relief, and all the families who are concerned that other future disasters may come and we're not prepared. He could have said that. He could have said, we will instead focus on those things first in the next special session. If he would have just said that, he'd come back today, right?
Mm-hmm.
But his first instinct isn't to figure out, hey, could we negotiate? Can we talk? And can we find some solution that doesn't involve threats and violence? Good guys don't threaten people with violence. If you want to know where everything stands and who's on the right side of history, the good guys don't threaten. The good guys don't use violence as a means to get what they want.
Speaking of violence, in the news today, this morning, as we record this, there was a bomb threat at the hotel some of you folks are staying in. Can you give us a little insight into what happened there and how everyone's doing?
Yeah, the good guys also don't call in bomb threats. How about that? Look, it happened. Everybody's safe. But this is by no means is going to stop us from defending the state of Texas and from us defending the American people. We are committed to this.
I've heard you say defending the state of Texas. I've seen you address this in other interviews for folks who are saying that it's a dereliction of duty, that you have left your responsibilities behind to do the work of the people of Texas. How do you react?
Yeah. So look, I'm kind of an old-fashioned kind of guy. And to me, oaths are very important. When you swear to do something, when you swear to God that you will keep your word, that has real meaning to it, and that's important. And I've taken an oath to not only the state of Texas, but to the people of the United States and to the Constitution of the United States so many times. When I became a United States citizen, I took that oath. When I passed the bar and became an attorney, I took that oath again. When I became a prosecutor for Harris County DA's office, I took that same oath again. Every single year for the past 13 years where I have been sworn in as a state legislator, I have taken the oath to defend the Constitution of the United States, the people of the United States, and the state of Texas. I take that oath very seriously. When you have a governor who is conspiring with a disgraced president to use illegal, unconstitutional, racially charged gerrymandering to destroy communities who have literally spent decades building up what little power they have, working their butts off to increase their voice, to make sure that they finally can ask for the things that their community actually needs, to take what they have earned through blood, sweat, and tears and steal it and to give it to Donald Trump. If we allow that to happen without resistance, I would have failed and been neglectful in my duties to the Constitution and to the people of the state of Texas. That is my firm belief. I stand by my oath.
I want to talk a little bit about the actual fact at hand here, which is the redrawing of the map at this point in the cycle. And I'm curious, what's the legality, if there is such, in a mid-cycle redistricting? Is there anything that says we can or cannot do that, legally speaking?
Yeah, so that's a matter of interpretation. The law says that you must redistrict after every census. So for like 100+ years of our nation's history, everyone understood that to mean you redistrict after the census and no other time. This is a common and reasonable interpretation of our laws, and it has been true for over 100 years. The Republicans now realizing that they are going to get crushed in the next election cycle because they're doing so many things that are so unpopular on both sides. Slashing Social Security, Medicaid, firing veterans, firing people from the Weather Service, from NASA, from everywhere. And to do it to just take care and give more money to billionaires, people hate that. And they know it. And they know that their efforts to cover up the Epstein files. I mean, look at Ernie. People want to talk about us being derelict. The United States Congress, the Republicans, are on vacation until September just so they don't have to release the Epstein files. They're being gone for 2 whole months away from work just so they don't have to release the Epstein files. And they're calling us abandoning the state? What about abandoning the American people? And look, no matter what happens, I think the most important thing, if we get anything out of this, if we're able to accomplish anything, the most important thing is if we're able to wake up the American people. If we can tell all these people who are looking around their lives and are saying, everything is falling apart, nothing in my life is working right, and we're saying, you're right. But let me tell you why that's happening. Because the people who helped Trump get elected have spent the last 50 years tearing apart every system of government, every institution that actually made America great. We tore them apart and sold the pieces off to the lowest bidders. And there is only one thing left that they have not taken from us, that they have not stolen from us. And that is our power, and that is our voice. And this attempt at redistricting is that final attempt to take our voices, take our power, because if it happens in Texas, all these other states are watching. Ohio, Missouri have already said, we're watching Texas. The moment they do it, we're going to do it too. If this happens everywhere, if politicians are freely able to just pick who they want their voters to be, and without any consequence, if they can cheat and change the rules midstream whenever they're losing, our democracy is over. The republic is at an end. Mm-hmm. It is no longer a democracy when the voice of the people have been silenced.
While you are doing this walk out of the state and are in other places, I'm assuming there are other plans, other policies at work to try and thwart this effort. Is there any current litigation being filed or legal action being taken to stall off the redoing of the map when in fact you folks have to return?
Yeah, I mean, the legal option is always there. But the legal option, one, is not for sure. It's a gamble, and we don't know if it'll be in time. The courts may refuse to enjoin any kind of law because we're too close to the election. It's a possibility. But that doesn't change what we have to do at this moment. Mm-hmm. And what I really want to say is to everyone who's listening, that this cannot be just a Democrats versus Republicans thing. This cannot be that. This cannot just be us versus them again. If at this point in our history, if the people who still believe in this nation, the people like me who were taught that America is great because we are the place that values hard work and values people who follow the rules, and that it doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. It doesn't matter what your last name is. It doesn't matter who you were born to. That if you work hard, you bust your ass, and you follow the rules, you will get ahead. If you believe in that still, it's not too late to save our nation. It is not to save the American dream, but it requires action now. You cannot wait. You cannot sit on your ass. You cannot say someone else will take care of it. Either you get involved now or go ahead and lay down.
A strange irony in all of this is while this is going on, the current map of the state of Texas is under litigation. And they're arguing that that map was drawn, which they approved, the Republican side, the conservative side approved, and now they're saying that it is gerrymandered, is what the challenge is on it. Tell me where we are with that litigation, and depending on how that goes, wouldn't that open the door for a new map to be drawn anyway?
Well, I mean, this is the insanity of what is going on right now. And then you have to remember that since the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1975, the state of Texas has been found in intentional violation of the Voting Rights Act every single time. Every single time. And that's impressive, frankly. That the state has intentionally discriminated against minority communities using racial boundaries as their marker. And it was no different in 2021. That map, the 2021 map, is currently in litigation. We finished up trial about a month ago. We're still waiting for that court to issue its opinion. My guess is they're going to say, for the umpteenth time, the state of Texas has been found in intentional violation of the Voting Rights Act, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where it gets really dirty. The current maps that they were using, the current basis of what they're talking about, the maps that we're drawing this new map on top of, right, is already one of the worst gerrymandered maps in the United States of America. One of the most racially charged maps in the whole country already. And in order to get 5 more seats out of it, they would have to take this and turbocharge the racism, turbocharge the criminality. You cannot get 5 more seats out of this already illegal map, already racist map, without just doing horrific things to these communities. And what they're doing is these communities who have built up power over the years, if their power was more diffuse, they're taking them and they're splitting those communities apart. If you look at Austin should have 1 single congressional member. Instead, Austin has 4, because all parts of Austin are now split off and connected to communities hundreds of miles away that have nothing to do with them. And if you look at what's happened in Houston, mm-hmm. the 9th and the 18th congressional districts, these are both strong Black districts. The Black community makes up almost over 40% of the voting bloc in that district, both these districts. They have elected strong Black leaders continuously. In the 18th, this is Barbara Jordan's district. This is Mickey Leland's district. This is Sylvester Turner, and this is Sheila Jackson Lee, right? Craig Washington. And what they're going to do now in this new map is take that and the 9th congressional district, which is also another strong African American district, who elected Al Green, and they're going to smash them together. And they're going to make a super concentrated Black district. We call that packing. Mm-hmm. Taking all of the people you don't like and shoving them into an area and walling it off. This is intentional. This is racist. This is discriminatory. And it is illegal. And for our governor to be pushing this, if we did not stand up to it, we would be in dereliction of our duties and a violation of our oaths to defend our people and defend our communities. And more importantly, this is bad for the whole country. Because if this is allowed to spread everywhere, every state will do this, whether they're blue or red. California has a way to draw out every single Republican. There's a way to draw California where California does not elect a single Republican. And it is possible. And this is not good for anybody. It is not good for blue states. It is not good for red states. It is not good for Americans. Because every time that this happens, every time a state does this, it nullifies more and more of the people's power. More and more voices become irrelevant. If somebody is simply going to get reelected just because of the way their districts are drawn, and they don't have to do anything. It doesn't matter how they voted. It doesn't matter what they said, and they're just going to get reelected. Why would they listen to anyone anymore? Our members of Congress already don't listen to us. You look at, you go to Republican areas, and you ask, when was the last time you had a town hall? When was the last time you guys had a roundtable? And there's people who will tell you, I've never seen my congressman, but they keep getting reelected. This is why. When you create these illegal, super safe districts for Republicans, you get Republican elected officials who just never respond to anything.
Regardless of what happens in Texas, do you believe New York, California, Illinois will all be moving toward redistricting simply because now that we've seen the idea is out there that you can't take for granted it won't happen?
They don't have a choice. You have to think about this in terms of like the Cold War. I mean, the Republicans have been launching nukes over and over again. And Democrats have said, well, we're better than that. We won't respond. Right? And what's the result of that? Well, they just launch more, because if you say you won't respond, then they're just going to keep doing it. What needs to happen, what I hope happens, is that states finally get together and say, we don't want to do this. We think this kind of action is unethical. It should be illegal. It should be unconstitutional. We don't want to do this, but you give us no choice. If we do not respond, then you will continue lying, cheating, and stealing. We have to have a response. The American people have to respond. It's not just blue states. All people who care about this country, who do not want to see us collapse into ruin, we need everyone to respond, and respond now.
My last question before I let you go. Off hours, when you have those personal conversations, have you spoken to any Republican House members that see the Democratic side of things and that there could possibly be a little daylight here between the two parties?
I personally have not, which is also a statement of how broken our system is. But at the same time, it won't matter. We've played this game all throughout this last legislative session. You know, in the past, we could count on Republicans who to vote against things simply because it was wrong. And you can ask them, well, hey, why did you vote against it? Because it's wrong. And you know it's wrong, right? But the only thing that matters now in this day and age to Republicans is, what did Donald Trump say about it? If Donald Trump says it's good, then it's good. If Donald Trump says it's bad, then it's bad. And no one, even if they have their own opinions, is willing to do anything about it or to even share those opinions publicly. So whatever they tell us in private is meaningless. If they don't have the spine to say it, if they don't have the free will to think about it, what's the difference?
Representative Gene Wu, member of the Texas House representing Texas District 137, also the House Democratic Caucus Chair, currently one of the Democratic officials that are outside of our state to stall the redistricting. Representative Wu, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you. My conversation with Representative Gene Wu. This conversation was recorded Wednesday afternoon, August 6th. We continue to invite and offer an opportunity for our Republican representatives to join us, and when they accept, we will bring you those conversations as well.
Coming up next, Houston is emerging as a national art destination. Stay with us to learn why, as Hello Houston continues.
With federal support gone, Houston Public Media needs a stronger foundation for the future. The Houston Public Media Resiliency Fund is our response to ensure this service remains strong, stable, and community-powered. Your gift today helps us stay on the air tomorrow and the day after that. Give now to the Resiliency Fund at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300. 0887.
Support comes from Visit Galveston, an island-style retreat where visitors can experience historic architecture, museums, boutique shops, and more at this family seaside escape. More at visitgalveston.com.
Support comes from John Moore, helping with plumbing, electrical, and air conditioning repairs, including out-of-warranty units since 1965. Details at 730-2525 or at johnmooreservices.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
All right, the city of Houston, known for its world-class art institutions and state-designated cultural districts, has emerged as the cultural and artistic epicenter for the entire state of Texas. Can you believe it? The city's art scene continues to reflect its culturally rich and diverse population, amplifying the voices of Latinos, Black, Asians, immigrants. Now joining us to tell us more is Sixto Wagan, Executive Director of the BIPOC Art Network and Fund, or BANF, which is an acronym. But BIPOC is also an acronym, so it's an acronym within an acronym. It's the first time I've ever seen this happen. Okay, and also with us is graphic designer, visual artist, photographer Phillip Pyle II. Thank you for being here, guys. So first of all, Sixto, what is BIPOC, B-I-P-O-C?
It is Black Indigenous People of Color, and it is an acronym that actually talks about the multiple communities that actually have helped to make Houston such an important and vibrant city.
Absolutely. And Philip, how did you get involved with this?
I got involved because Banff posted the call for submitting a chance to, get the grant. And, of course, familiar with Sixto and also Banff. They've done a lot of work in the community across Houston. And so once the opportunity presented itself, had to apply.
Tell us, what kind of artist are you?
Hopefully a good one.
Oh, well, hopefully a great one. Well, what's your genre there?
I mean, it's interdisciplinary, so it I would say it's based on the idea. So like whatever the idea calls for, it could be a performance, it could be something visual, it could be something digital, whatever it calls for.
So this isn't necessarily just art. This is any kind of art that Banff artist.
So all of that is art for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
so it is music. It is performing arts. It is cultural preservation. It is really about how our communities actually express ourselves and celebrate not only their histories but also our futures, and how do we actually live into not only the moment but understand how food and the music all come together in order to then bring us together and as opportunities for all of us to come together.
So it truly is kind of a holistic approach to experiencing art.
Definitely.
We tend to think of the art community as a more mature group of people. And in this, I know you're reaching out also to younger communities. Are you seeing a difference in what they are hoping to represent and present to us that really is eye-opening for those of us who maybe already have a concept of what these artists will be delivering?
Well, as a person who's been in the arts community for 30 plus years, I actually just tracked it, is that my first exhibition in Houston was 1994.
And we've been knowing each other for almost that long.
Exactly. I think that what we're actually experiencing is an amazing intergenerational conversation, and really seeing how young folks and those who've been holding to the community for 40 plus years are really having a conversation of what does it mean in order to be culture bearers? What does it mean in order to think about music, think about gatherings, and thinking about actually visual expression and an opportunity in order to be able to just celebrate what does it mean in order to be American, what does it mean to be Houstonian, what does it mean to be part of our communities.
Do you feel like more than ever now y'all are looking at, what's kind of happening in our culture? Do you feel like y'all are finding it harder to express yourselves, or do you find this is actually a time where you really feel very free to express yourself?
I would say like these moments make it even more more fun to create, because it's always so many things to create from, and the harder the challenge, the better the art.
Do you personally have a favorite I mean, it sounds like you have your fingers in a lot of different places.
Favorite artwork?
Yeah, like you do to really just focus on.
Not too long ago, Buffalo Bayou did a project with the High Line, and I did a poster. It was called New Monuments for New Cities, and so I made the Broken Obelisk, which Garrett Newman did, which is over by the Menil at the Rothko Chapel.
Yep.
But I put elbows on it, like the elbows that poke out on the candy cars here in Houston. So I put those on the Broken Obelisk, and that was my monument. I would say that's one of my favorites.
Nice.
Absolutely. I think that one of the wonderful things that Phillip does is actually bring a sense of humor and a sense of opportunity in order to rethink the way and encourages us to relook at what we've actually been seeing.
And what projects are coming up, and how can people get involved?
So the BIPOC Resident Working Fund is we've been around for 4 years, and we invested over $10 million in organizations and artists in this community. And part of what we've been also, it's not just about BANF, it's actually about these organizations. It is about these hidden treasures and who've been doing and celebrating and actually connecting communities for so long, and it's our opportunity in order to uplift them and actually be able to invest in them and celebrate all the work that they're doing as individuals and as organizations, and also draw connections as to how individual artists like Phillip are in the center of so many organizations, because not only is he an individual artist, but he works at the CAM, and he also is on the board of Project Row Houses. Mm-hmm. This is how Houston actually continues to work in art culture, is that so many of the individual artists, so many of the leaders are in so many places because we collaborate, because we actually are a city that celebrates all of this work.
In talking in all of that area, what comes to mind for me is understanding today cultural appropriation. And when you were talking about different communities, and you're talking about cross-pollinating too, does anything truly belong to anyone anymore in the art world, or should it all be there for all to explore? How do you find the balance?
I would say as long as it's done with respect and consideration, then that balance can definitely take place for sure.
Yeah, I think that part of what we also explore is the fact that art is an important part of dialogue and conversation. And I think that if you are doing it with respect and you're doing it in a space of actually learning and a space of invitation, it's a really awesome opportunity about what art is about. And I think that that's the places of how do we actually continue these conversations. And art, music, dance are an important starting place for being able to talk and just actually having fun.
Isn't it nice how Houston just opens its arms to this kind of an effort? People think of us as a oil and gas cow town, and we really have it all. I mean, this is wonderful that you guys are doing this.
Well, I think that this is the part where it's also been recognized. We are the only city in Texas that has 7 cultural districts. Mm-hmm. And of those cultural districts, four of them are very community-based. And actually, East End Management District, 5th Ward, and 3rd Ward celebrate historic populations in those communities, the Latino and Hispanic communities, the African-American communities.
So we're elbowing out Austin and San Antonio and Dallas. We're
big time.
On our way up.
Big time. Yeah,
big time.
I don't think that we're on our way up. We've been here. And we're excited about how we continue to make all these things happen.
Nice to get noticed.
Sixto Wagan is the executive director of Banff, and Phillip Pyle II is a 2025 Banff Artist Awardee, as well as a visual artist, graphic designer, and photographer. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And coming up on Hello Houston, we have some very exciting news about our young fundraiser, Eric, and how he is inspiring others to give. We will fill you in and Eric in. Stay with us for the second hour of Hello Houston.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way with Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support comes from the Dan L. Duncan Comprehensive Cancer Center at Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center, offering comprehensive cancer care that is compassionate, personalized, and driven by clinical research. More at stlukeshealth.org/cancer.
Mostly sunny this afternoon, slight chance of a shower later after 2 o'clock. Currently, it's 87. This is your NPR station, KUHF, Houston. News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston. It's 12 o'clock.
Just ahead on this hour of Hello Houston, we'll continue diving into today's top stories, including Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton launching an investigation into Beto O'Rourke's political group for financially aiding the Texas House Democrats that have left the state. I'm Ernie Manous.
And I'm Frank Billingsley. We'll also be joined by John Lienhard, founder of the long-running radio program, The Engines of Our Ingenuity, which is broadcast every weekday without fail since it began in 1988.
And I'm Celestia Sherman. Plus, we'll also share our latest pop culture obsessions as part of our regular Thursday feature, Current Obsessions.
And we want to hear from you, so give us a call or text us, 713-440-8870, or email us, talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. Just go to hellohouston.org and click the big orange banner.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. President Trump is calling for an unprecedented change to who is counted in the U.S. Census. NPR's Hansi Loang reports those figures influence elections for presidents and the House of Representatives.
Preparations for the 2030 census are already underway, but in a social media post, President Trump says he has instructed his administration to immediately begin work on a new census that excludes people living in the states without legal status. The 14th Amendment requires the, quote, whole number of persons in each state to be counted in the 2030 census numbers set to be used to determine each state's share of congressional seats. And the Constitution gives Congress, not the president, the final authority over the census. Decades ago, Congress passed a federal law allowing a mid-decade census in 2025, but the results cannot be used for redistributing House seats. Last month, Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia introduced a bill that tries to change that and calls for a new census and congressional redistricting before next year's midterm election. Hansi Loang, NPR News, Washington.
Russian President Vladimir Putin says he hopes to meet with President Trump next week, possibly in the United Arab Emirates. The announcement comes just ahead of a White House deadline for Moscow to show progress in ending the war in Ukraine. A face-to-face meeting could mark a key moment in Trump's continued push to broker a peace deal. Israeli lawmakers are expected to vote tonight on whether to fully take military control of the Gaza Strip. The prospect of escalating the war has deeply divided Israeli society, as NPR's Emily Fang reports from Tel Aviv.
Israel's chief of staff of the military, Lieutenant General Ayal Zamir, was quoted by Israel's military on X, the social media site, saying that debate is, quote, an inseparable part of the history of the Jewish people and a, quote, vital component of the military's culture. Zamir, the statement said, would share positions, quote, without fear, alluding to widespread reports in Israeli media that he disagrees strongly with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the course of the war. Israeli media has been reporting that Netanyahu wants to ramp up military pressure on Hamas in Gaza, even as hundreds of former senior defense and intelligence officials have spoken up in opposition to continuing the war, because it potentially endangers 20 hostages who are still alive and held in Gaza. Emily Fang, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
Texas Senator John Cornyn says the FBI is stepping in to help track down Democratic lawmakers who fled the state. They left to avoid a vote on new redistricting maps, a plan pushed by President Trump to give Republicans more seats in the U.S. House. Cornyn accuses Democrats of dodging their constitutional duties. Democrats argue the maps are unfairly drawn to favor the GOP. The FBI declined to comment on any details. This is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. As Republican state lawmakers continue to push for a dramatic redrawing of Texas's congressional map, at least a dozen members of Congress of both parties are pushing for a ban on mid-decade redistricting. Houston Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher describes how the bill backed by most Texas Democratic representatives would work.
In broad strokes, the bill requires that redistricting only happens following the census every 10 years unless it is ordered by a court in response to a challenge where something needs to be remedied.
Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley of California has authored a similar bill, and GOP Congressman Mike Lawler of New York plans to introduce one as well. Meanwhile, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has given Texas Democrats who fled the state to avoid voting on redistricting until tomorrow to return before taking court action. Paxton says he will seek judicial orders declaring their seats vacant tomorrow in court if they don't return. A former Harris County deputy is now facing manslaughter charges. News 88.7's Sarah Gruno reports Rigo Vivar is accused of driving the wrong way on a one-way street.
The manslaughter charge was filed against Vivar in late June, and he appeared in court on Tuesday. An attorney hired to represent him in court declined to comment to Houston Public Media. The crash happened in the 2700 block of Canal Street in August last year when Vivar allegedly drove the wrong way on the street, striking the vehicle driven by Ricardo Resendez. Vivar was in his personal vehicle at the time. The deputy was terminated from the Harris County Precinct 6 Constable's office within days of the crash. I'm Sarah Gruno, News 88.7.
And a captain with the Houston Fire Department had to be hospitalized this morning with burn wounds after getting trapped inside of a burning house on the city's south side just after midnight. ABC 13 reports that arson investigators are looking into the cause of the blaze. A suspect is being questioned for possibly starting that fire. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Progressive. Progressive Commercial Auto Insurance protects the vehicles that work to keep small businesses moving forward, including protection while running errands and other tasks. At progressivecommercial.com.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Yes, it is. All three of us here as we get ready for Friday is tomorrow, then the weekend.
I know. Well, your Friday's today.
My Friday's today. I get a little escape again. But it's almost
what?
coming to an
Escape
end.
from what?
That's what I was going to say.
What's
Escape
the
from
terminology?
fun. It's not like you have workplace
poor choice
anxiety.
of words. But yeah, because, I was thinking about this the other day. Because I had so much time I had to take off. So throughout the summer, I've been taking a lot of Fridays off and stuff. Very shortly, I am going to be coming to work 5 days a week. I don't know if I can handle it again. I've gotten very... Unlike my abs, the rest of me has gotten soft too. So.
Yes, but right before we ended last hour, we have some very exciting news.
You hinted at it.
Yes, I did. I hinted at it.
We all have heard the story of Eric. He was the young boy who wanted to do something when he heard that the funding was cut to CPB, wanted to do something to preserve his PBS.
Why?
Because he engages with it and uses it and enjoys it. And so he raised his $5 and went to his dad, who reached out to us to tell us what he was doing. So as the story has unfolded here, it has continued. He came on the show. He had raised then, he got it up to $300. Mm-hmm. All of us are matching it. So we were excited because we made his $300 into $1,200. But it doesn't end there.
No. So then yesterday, we received this note. It says, enclosed is my check for the Eric Challenge to support PBS Kids programming. I am a Hello Houston fan and heard about Eric and his mission to collect donations to support PBS Kids programming. And it was a check of $500.
Thank you.
And so we want to thank that person, and we just appreciate you.
And we want the reaction. Eric and his dad, Eric Estrada, are on the line with us. Hello there, gentlemen.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello. Eric, young Eric, I want to say to you, does it excite you to hear that this is continuing and it is inspiring other people to give toward what they are now calling the Eric Fund?
I don't even know what to say.
Well, if you think that's crazy, I got another story for you. I hope you're listening, Eric. So yesterday afternoon, a gentleman walked into our lobby here at the station and said to the receptionist he would like to donate to the Eric Fund. And he pulled out his checkbook and he wrote a check to Houston Public Media and PBS Kids for $50,000.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, that's what we all said. What? Yes, and everybody was just so excited, and it was all because of your efforts. You are inspiring people because you made a decision to act. You made that decision not to just sit back and say, well, no, but you took action, and so are other people.
Because you did something you care about.
Yep.
And Eric, first of all, let's hear your reaction. What are you thinking to think $50,000 was given in your name because of your efforts?
I still can't say anything.
How about Papa Eric Estrada? How does this make you feel? And this was because you encouraged your son and turned to us and said, hey, listen, what can I do to get my son involved? And this is what you did.
I am in tears right now. I'm like a little Eric. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. I want to thank the person who did that personally. And wow, it's not just for Eric, but it's for all the kids that intake this programming.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, as soon as Celeste heard about it, she went and checked and made sure the check was legit, and she wanted to make sure it would cash, and as well as we can tell, it is legit.
It is absolutely 100% legit. I put it up to the light. I was like, is this real? And yes, and so if that person is listening from the bottom of our hearts, we want to thank you as well, and to everybody else that has stepped up and donated to Houston Public Media. And again, Eric and young Eric, thank you so much for being an inspiration.
Yes.
Yes, and it's still going.
Oh, no. Thank you, Eric. And to let you know, these are just two stories we're telling you. Our membership department has been getting lots of donations in your name, trying to match either the 150 or 300 you initially raised. If you are listening right now and you would like to join into this effort, don't think that $50,000 is all we need. We are keeping public media alive thanks to Eric, and we want PBS Kids to thrive. It's not just the shows on TV. It is the web app. It is the games. It is education all the time for all the children, regardless of who they are in our community. You can give. Just go to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate. And in the comments, just say you want to give for Eric. Eric, we just wanted to call you quickly and thank you again for all you have done for us.
Thank you, everybody.
I love
so nice.
Eric.
Oh my gosh.
Eric, Dad, thank you very much. You've done a great job with that kid and your wife too, and the whole family. We got to meet them all when they came into the station. So thank you so much for this effort. And just know that your son's gesture is truly being felt in our community.
That's right. And you know, what was so sweet is we had Eric and his family on and his dad on last week, or was it was Monday. It was Monday. It's been a long week. And if you want to see that conversation, you can head to our YouTube channel. Just head to houstonpublicmedia.org.
Or Hello Houston.
Or Hello Houston and our YouTube channel. But it's one of those things where, you know, Eric has little brothers. And I think that's really cool to be a big brother and be setting that example, and not just for his little brothers, but for other kids too.
Yeah. If you're still with us on the line, again, thank you both very much. The Estrada family is a true angel to Houston Public Media and especially to our PBS Kids programming.
You know, what I like is that we have a tendency to take whatever we see on television for granted. Mm-hmm. And then we're always shocked when suddenly the network pulls something we were watching, sometimes in the middle of it. And you're like, wait, how is this going to end? And they're like, well, sorry, we're pulling it anyway. They don't care. They just decided to cancel, and just like that, the Sarah Jessica Parker
Sex
thing.
in the City.
Yeah, that
follow up.
And it was like, okay, we have 2 more shows and that's it. Yeah. And everyone's like, wait. So to see something threatened like Eric did, PBS Kids, and to see the possibility that could go away, he stepped up and said, look, I love this show. I'm going to do what I can.
Yeah,
that's what we're asking.
What's resonating with our audience, too, so much is we sit here in our studios and we tell you how important this programming is and we need your help and support. And that can carry us so far. But to have a young person who actually consumes the product say, I can't do without that. This is important to me. And then he went around his neighborhood. He brought up the little bucket that he collected the money into the station, knocked on doors, talked to family, talked to friends, relatives to raise $300. Imagine when you were 10 years old to raise $300. That's a big chunk of change.
And that's the thing, right? Is he's a good salesman. I mean, he started with his family and then he said, okay, I've hit up all my family. Now I need to go to my neighbors. All right, hit up my neighbors. No, but yes, it was one of those things where this was truly, there's a lot of news out there. And
before you get back in the news, I want to just remind people, HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate as you're inspired. Sorry.
Okay. There is a lot of news. And so when we can provide good news, it feels great.
It's a plus.
And it's a plus. And this was really good. And there are people in our communities that do great things constantly. And so, again, we want to thank Eric and his family.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. I thought you were going into the news headlines.
Yeah, now
and I
we're
wanted
going
to make
to
sure
the
we got the donate, and I apologize.
Right. So, yes, moving right along into today's top headlines. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has launched an investigation into whether Beto O'Rourke's political group, Powered by People, is breaking laws by funding Texas Democrats' out-of-state travel, attempting to stop the passage of the new Republican-favored congressional maps. In a press release, Paxton cited the Texas Tribune's reporting on Tuesday that O'Rourke's group is funding the travel and fines for more than 50 Democrats who left Texas this weekend to shut down the legislature by depriving the House of a quorum. A spokesperson for Powered by People did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The Texas House Democrat Caucus declined for a comment as well. What do you think about the Democrats taking money from Beto? Is this a bribe or not? Give us a call, 713-440-8870.
I think that the concern here with the word bribe is that you're giving money in return for something. To be in an activity and raising money to support that activity does not necessarily imply bribery. I don't believe.
I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know because bribing, that's almost like an extortion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this doesn't feel extortion. There's no gain for Beto except that he's trying to support what the Democrats are doing.
Right. So the Attorney General accused the organization of running a financial influence scheme that convinced Texas Democrats to leave the state and vowed to investigate any Democrat coward breaking the law by taking the Beto bribe. So he's basically saying that Texas Democrats are taking Beto's bribes.
I guess if I'm looking at it from the legal point of view, and again, like Frank, I too am not a lawyer, but I love to play one on this show. I guess it's the initial intent. If it was that Beto was raising money with the intent to let the Democrats know they could leave the state and he would support it financially so they wouldn't get the fine, that is one thing. Then if the Democrats had decided to battle this redistricting, they were going to leave the state and then incurred costs, and Beto said, we can help with those costs. So it's that, which came first, the chicken or the egg, possibly.
There's a lot of chicken and egg in Texas.
Right, and Attorney General...
A lot of scrambled eggs, too.
And the Attorney General Paxton is using a statute called Request to Examine, so to demand documents and communications from Beto's organization, while the legal tool has come under scrutiny. The Texas Supreme Court defended its use in a ruling already earlier this year. So... Again,
we'll
it's
see,
very,
I guess.
I think it's going to get very legal, and it'd be interesting to get a lawyer. Maybe we get a lawyer on the line at some point.
Well,
to
it's always
look at this.
I mean, you look at all of the PACs, political action groups, and just these billionaires out in West Texas that tend to control the Republican Party in Texas, but with their money. Are they guilty of influencing people to say, run? I want you, Celeste, to run against Frank because Frank isn't doing what we want, so we want to give you money so you'll run against Frank.
Who do I vote for?
I know, right? I mean, is
I'd be like, well, how much you got?
Would that be, would you be in trouble for accepting their money and because you've been influenced by their money? I think that's where we're going with
And
this.
there's been a lot of controversy around PACs and
Sure.
the amount and setting limits about how much a person can donate or an organization. We want to hear from you. What do you think about this situation with Democrats actually taking money from Beto O'Rourke's organization? Give us a call, 713-440-8870.
There is a text, quote, I just hope they're not getting paid for leaving out of state. I don't get paid when I don't go to work. And there are many times when I don't want to, I guess, go to work.
Yeah, I think for those who are trying to follow the thread of all of this, the deal is that the legislature had put through I don't know if it's a law or an ordinance or a rule, that anybody who misses a session that is not an excused absence from the legislative session could be fined $500 a day. So with 50 plus Democrats out of session, all without excuses or approved absences, each one of them is incurring a $500 fine every single day. That's why the need for the additional money. The question about are they being paid to be out of state, I believe the answer is the money would be being used toward paying the fines.
Well, they're also incurring meals and hotels and travel.
And I do believe if I glean this correctly from what Governor Pritzker was saying in Illinois, they are helping with some of that. They are providing they are welcoming these Democrats as guests to the state of Illinois. So take that how you want.
And we did get a couple of other texts. A text says, please tell Cornyn, Abbott, and Paxton that leaving the state to break quorum is not a federal offense and call off the FBI or be held complicit. Jen in Clear Lake sent this text. I find it deeply ironic that the Republicans eliminated anti-kickback laws in Texas. Federally, they publicly eliminated prosecuting bribery laws, but now suddenly they claim to care about bribery. Is this the same man who supported his mistress and when he was married?
The same man who apparently will enforce the 10 Commandment rule to put on the classroom walls. He's going to be the one that says you have to put the 10 Commandments on your walls.
It's getting chippy.
I'm trying
to
remember back to exactly how they defined bribery or non-bribery when receiving a $1 billion plane from a foreign government as a gift to the country. It's just interesting where we draw these lines and what is bribery and what isn't bribery.
Well, you can't draw them for one party and not your own. So let's start there.
Well, you can.
You've got it. Well, you can, but that's where you get into conversations like this.
Again, 713-440-8870. We do have a call on the line. Kenny from Galleria, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Hi, I just wanted to comment on the whole issue.
Yeah.
You have Democratic states with 45% Republican voters, but they have zero representation in the House.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're gonna look at it apples to apples, I don't think we could really talk about gerrymandering only in Texas.
Correct. I think that the problem, though, is as you talk about this, Kenny, though, think about the idea. It's not so much about the gerrymandering or the size. That needs to be rectified and correct. The question is to suddenly do it out of regular cycle and just doing it now with the blatant, obvious impact of wanting to gain certain types of seats at this point. So continue.
Oh, I appreciate that, sir. But I guess, my comment to there would be, we just had, I don't know how many millions flow over the border during Biden's term.
Mm-hmm.
That skews the census, that skews the number of voters in particular areas. That certainly didn't happen every 10 years. That just happened last year. So I don't know. It's kind of a goose and gander kind of situation.
Well, but it's interesting to note that Trump took the Latino vote. So all those people coming over the border would, I would think, help the Republican Party.
Well, and possibly in voting, but not in the census tally for number of representation.
And I would like to just clarify one thing. Undocumented people here cannot vote in any election. So people that are undocumented would not be able to vote in any election. However, they are counted in the census, just to clarify.
Right. Kenny, thank you for your comments. It's good food for thought. Thank you for calling.
Thank you for your program.
Thank
you, Kenny.
It is an interesting point when you get into districting and how we figure out districting. I think that the answer that lies in all this, and you keep hearing it come out, but it's going to be very hard to get people to do it, is a bipartisan, you've talked about it, Frank, we've talked bipartisan committee to do it. But then again, we look at the Supreme Court, which is supposed to be nonpartisan, and the Supreme Court has fallen to partisan lines, a lot of people believe, because of who appoints who to the court. So how do you get to the point that you have total fairness in writing and drawing these districts?
You turn the Senate blue. That's about it. And you turn the White House blue. And so if you have a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate, then you have more control, certainly over the Supreme Court and who gets appointed if there are openings. And you have, I think, more of if you do good things as a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate, then you're more likely to turn seats in the House bluer than red. But look what happened in 2008. We had a very red situation. And President Obama, a black man, won the presidency. It was historical. And the reason for that was, I think, people were not sold on Sarah Palin and the 2008 economic crash, which happened right before the election. But you put the two together and people said, I'm willing to give a black Democrat a chance as president. And also you turn the Senate.
And during that time, to your point, President Obama ran on the slogan of change and hope.
Change and hope.
And that's, I think, where people really...
Look what Bill Clinton did in 1992. I should say.
And again, 713-440-8870. We would love to hear from you. And Sheffer from Cyprus is on the line. Sheffer, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Well, I find it quite ironic that when Mayor Turner died, the people in Southwest Houston, they have not had any representation in the House of Representatives. And that is just totally wrong. So now it's ironic that the Attorney General, who was prosecuted and really should have been found guilty of all the crooked things that he's done, is trying to say that when the Democrats are fighting for truth and justice, that they should be prosecuted. That's just totally ridiculous. The Republican Party they are being manipulated by Donald Trump. That is just quite clear. And that needs to stop. That really needs to stop. And as soon as we can get him out of office, I think every Republican...
Thank you, Scheffler.
Yeah. Thank you for your call there. I want to grab a comment we got on YouTube from Dark One. First of all, I'm against this redistricting attempt, but let's face it, whether you do it every 10 years or not, whoever has the majority is going to redistrict in their favor. And truth be it, they do.
They do. And I think that's what Kenny was essentially saying, is that how can we sit here and look at this and say, oh, this is so, not that this only happens when Republicans are in the majority or have the seat, when we know the Democratic Party does it as well. And this is something that's happened.
To your point, that's why we need a bipartisan committee.
And that's right. And so he also mentioned California, how there's 45% of Republicans and they're not necessarily having that representation. Well, the fact is since 2001, we've mentioned it, we've talked about it, the state of California has had a redistricting commission that is made up and is totally bipartisan. Thank you.
Of course, though, if I'm not mistaken, though, the governor appoints the folks on the committee. So then that makes it problematic again.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yes, let's go back to the phone, 713-440-8870. Nelson from Cyprus is on the line. Nelson, what's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to say that it's not the Republican Party and it's not the Democrat Party that has kept our republic strong up until this point. It is the conflict and the struggle between those two parties where neither one of them have been able to achieve dominance. Because once the one party achieves total dominance, they don't care about us. So that is what is disturbing about what is going on now, that the Republican, I voted Republican my whole life. But what's disturbing now is that the Republicans have the Supreme Court, they've got Congress, and they've got a totally ruthless president who is willing to do anything to consolidate that power and that is not a good thing for our democracy.
Nelson, thank you for that. That's a good point to end this conversation on for now. It will stay in the news, I guarantee it, as we continue to see what happens in the state. Nelson, thank you for your thoughtful reaction.
And as Obama always said, don't complain, vote. But you have to vote fairly. The voting rules have to be fair. And that's where we're going to have problems.
Coming up on Hello Houston, we'll talk with John Lienhard, the founder of the long-running radio program, The Engines of Our Ingenuity. This is News 88.7. Stay with us. With federal funding cuts, Houston Public Media has lost $2.2 million annually. In response, we have launched the Resiliency Fund, an urgent initiative to protect the programs and services you rely on. That includes PBS Kids, that provides free educational programming to children and families across Greater Houston. Your support of the Resiliency Fund helps keep this vital service accessible to our community. Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
NYC Studios.
You can hear it tomorrow starting at 1.
All eyes are on Texas after Democrats flee the state to stop a Republican plan for redistricting. This week on the Friday News Roundup, the standoff over new GOP congressional maps and nationwide reaction. Plus, new tariffs, the White House plans a response to the Epstein controversy, and HHS Secretary RFK Jr. guts vaccine funding. Next time on 1A.
It's on this afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Hi, this is Matt Harrop. There's been a lot of news to cover in Houston over the last few months. Keep listening to Houston Public Media for the latest, and if you've got a car, truck, boat, or RV you don't need anymore, donate it to the station. It could be worth hundreds of dollars in support. The donation process is easy for you, and we'll pick up your vehicle in any condition. Here's how to get started. Go to houstonpublicmedia.org/cars to learn more. Thank you.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Theater Under the Stars, offering a season of musicals at the Hobby Center, including new productions of the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee and $1 Million Quartet. Tickets and subscription details at tuts.org. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Miller Outdoor Theater, presenting the University of Houston's Shakespeare Festival, with rotating performances of Henry V and As You Like It, this week through Saturday the 9th. Open to the public. MillerOutdoorTheater.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
The radio program, The Engines of Our Ingenuity, was founded by John Lienhard and tells the story of how our culture is formed by human invention and creativity. The series, which is produced by Houston Public Media, has broadcast every day, weekday, without fail since it began in 1988, making it one of the longest-running broadcasted shows ever, with it also garnering a worldwide following over the years. Joining us now to tell us more about the Engines of Our Ingenuity is founder John Lienhard. John, welcome to Hello Houston.
Well, thank you. I enjoy being here and with you all.
I hear your voice and I go to the music.
I was just going to say that. As soon as I hear your voice, it's just like, that's really the guy. And I've known you for years, seeing you around the station, but that voice is such a signature of the Engines.
Really
oh, my. Oh, my.
Well, John, take us back to 1988. And if, talk to us.
Well, actually, 1987
is
when I started writing episodes.
Yeah. And so take us back, and what kind of inspired you? What were you thinking in that moment?
Well, there was a suggestion over in engineering that we should create a 30-minute spot. On this day in the year such and such, the Brooklyn Bridge was opened. Let's hear it for engineering, sort of thing. And I said, wait a minute. That's advertising. Mm-hmm. What people really want is a story. Mm-hmm. You've got to tell stories. And so I wrote a couple of episodes, and I waylaid the station manager, and he took the bait. And,
and ever since then.
It's funny, we often talk when we're fundraising about those driveway moments when you pull up and the story that you're hearing on NPR hasn't ended and you stay in the car. I don't have that many of those usually. I'm in such a... When it's Engines of Our Ingenuity, I always have to stop and listen. And so I'm curious from a production point of view, in your writing of these, how do you pull us in and keep us there and paying attention?
The opening tag and the closing line should be jaws that close on the story. Does that answer your question?
It starts me on it. Now I want to start looking at all the scripts I write. And mine are just hanging their mouths open and a tongue wagging out usually.
So up until this point, are you still, very involved in the process? I know that you work with Houston Public Media producer Mark DeClaudio, closely. How involved are you still in the storytelling in the process?
Well, last week I recorded 4 episodes.
So that's pretty involved.
That's pretty impressive.
And are you writing these yourself?
Well, that's an interesting question. The answer is yes, by God, yes, but.
Yes.
One of those 4 was written not by me, but by ChatGPT.
How has that changed things for you?
Well, this is a one-off. It's not going to happen again.
Okay.
But I think it was a wake-up call that I needed to
Get back
put
in the
forth.
group.
It'll air tomorrow.
So how did you feel letting ChatGPT kind of talk to us about that process?
Well, I like all of us, I've been using ChatGPT for information. And for fact-checking and things like that. And at this point, I said, wait a minute, I wonder what this thing can do. And so I said, okay, the show. You've got 3,000 episodes to look at. You can figure this out.
Yeah.
Here's a style sheet. Here's a template. Do one.
Well.
And boom, seconds later, here's an episode.
And you approved.
Isaiah, how did it do?
It was, well,
You'll
you
find
tell
out
me.
tomorrow.
Listen
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we're going to find out tomorrow. So
I think it was a good episode, yeah.
Did you prompt it what the topic
No,
should be?
I
You
told
didn't
it
even give it a
nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
You just said write something that is in the same format, same style.
of Engines of Our Ingenuity.
Yeah,
And it did.
it did, yeah.
And not to jump ahead for what's going to air tomorrow, but I'm curious, 2 different things on that. One, is there some kind of wraparound that you talk about the process, or is it just the story as written by them?
I do. Today, our guest, ChatGPT, and boom. And then we come in with an artificial voice.
Okay.
Mark DeClaudio has put together a synthetic voice, so we'll know it's synthetic.
Yeah.
A female voice. And, I tried this episode on some friends, and let me give you some
We're getting a preview.
reactions here. The voice sounds slightly menacing. The voice creeped me out. Not a human voice, but soothing and understandable. So I was getting a very mixed set of reactions.
We've had some comments on your voice.
Yes.
By the way, on our YouTube. They're like, oh, that voice.
And, I want to invite everyone to the conversation. Give us a call if you would like to, if you have a question or a comment for Dr. Lienhard, you can call 713-440-8870. Alex Garza wants to know, Dr. Lienhard, if you could travel back in time and have a conversation with one historical inventor or engineer featured in Engines of Our Ingenuity, who would you choose?
Oh, it depends on the day you poke me. I mean, you poke me today, I might say Josiah Willard Gibbs.
And why?
Because he was, I think, America's greatest scientist. He single-handedly did everything fundamental to chemical thermodynamics, everything basic to statistical thermodynamics. He did everything. And he's very little known because he also invented the subject of vector analysis. I mean, he completely did 3 fields. And few people are aware of him or have ever heard of him. But he is a remarkable figure. He lived an almost isolated life at Yale University all of his life, never married, never took a better job when one was offered. He was working without pay a lot of the time. It was.
Speaking of working, if I'm not mistaken, you recently celebrated quite a birthday.
Yep.
A 95th birthday.
Well, it'll be 10 days from now.
10 days from now. It's coming up. Retirement? Not in the cards for you?
Well, I'm retired. I retired in the
You
year
can't
2000.
call it retired if you're still turning stories every week. I call that work.
Yeah. Well, it's anyway.
It's life.
Yeah.
And it keeps
Did
going.
you mention 95? I heard you say
Yeah, I
100.
said 95.
That's
95.
How have you seen the process evolve? I mean, I know you talk about the chat GPT, right? But at different points, how do you keep these stories, essentially stories that can be played at any time in a century?
Well, that's one reason I'm a little bit nervous about this ChatGPT episode.
Yeah.
Because one of our ground rules is they have to be evergreen. People will come in and say, here's this wonderful invention. You must do an episode about it. And I'll say, no, that's for the newsroom. Send that to the HPM newsroom. That's news. And 10 years from now, maybe that invention will be something. Maybe it'll be off in the scrap heap. But it's something that people should hear about now, not 20 years from now.
Is there an episode you regret doing?
Regret?
Yeah. Is there one episode or a few episodes that you really regret doing?
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm not going to tell you about that.
Why not? We want the good stuff, John.
I'm a human being, after all.
Yeah.
Speaking of being here, I'm going to go back to the ChatGPT for one moment here and say, without saying what the topic was, people will find that out tomorrow when they listen. But I'm curious, had you done the same topic, would you have written something similar to what they had generated?
Actually, I think it tried to emulate my voice, but it didn't. In other words, I looked at the text and say, wait a minute, I wouldn't have phrased it this way.
Yeah.
But it is a subject that I looked at and, geez, I should have thought of that. It was a good subject.
Speaking of that, with this many episodes over this many years, how do you keep having fresh ideas? Where do they come from?
Well, look.
And how do you not repeat yourself?
You all are in the radio station. You know how much stuff there is in the world. We've got how many 8 billion people in the world, and their minds are all cranking away. I mean, there's far more than I would ever need.
We keep giving you material. Well, not us, but people out there.
Thermodynamics.
I am interested the way you were talking about how some scientists, some inventors just aren't known, but they're so important to the world we have today. My favorite in that ilk is Joseph Henry. Amazing. I mean, he's responsible for the Morse code semiconductor, but Samuel Morse made it popular.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it works.
Well, my Oxford University Press book, How Invention Begins, is devoted to that subject. The canonical inventor is never the first one. There were airplanes before the Wrights. There were certainly telegraphs 100 years before Morse.
But yeah, Morse. Everybody, you say, who invented the telegraph? Samuel Morse. Morse. He was just he was an artist who created a way to make it that And that today, we talk about like the genome, and that there was a lot of controversy about whether that should be free. And there's been a big debate for years about whether science is something that should be profited from, or science is something that is for the people. Where do you fall on that, knowing what you know?
Well, I've been very leery of the whole patent process because of what we've just talked about. People, very often the person who has the patent is not the person with the idea, it's the person who bought the patent. I mean, the whole idea of identifying invention, combining invention with patents, I think is wrong.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of us have been watching The Gilded Age, and we've seen Jack get credit for creating the clock, making in today's money $23 million. But we don't really even know who invented the clock, do we? Or would you give credit to one person?
Well, I've done a lot of stuff on clock. No, of course not. The escapement mechanism emerged some 500 years ago or so, and that was a huge step. But the clock is several different things, and these different things were introduced, and they.
Yeah, that's to your point. I mean, that's why there's always something to talk about.
Yeah. Yes. We are speaking of talking about, we're talking to John Lienhard, who is, of course, the engines of Our Ingenuity. If you don't know the man, you know the voice, and you know the show. I may actually be quoting you on this or one of your episodes, but I was so moved by it, and if it wasn't, I want your thoughts on it. The phrase that necessity is the mother of invention, but actually just the need to invent is the mother. Is that an episode of yours?
I've pounded on that idea. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that concept.
Well, look at airplanes in World War I. There was a desperation, and so everybody was piling in there with their fixes. But it turns out that the speed and performance of airplanes moved much faster between the wars when necessity wasn't garbaging things up.
Yeah. It's a fascinating concept because we are always thinking that we invent something because we need it. But actually, it's human nature, from your point of view, to invent, to create, to improve.
Yeah.
And that is incredible. And so we're speaking with Dr. John Lienhard. You can join the conversation at 713-440-8870. We have Baba from Southwest Houston on the line. Baba, what is your comment or question for John? Oh, yeah. John, you're going to need to put those on real quick.
Excuse me, Baba. Let me put my
headphones
there you go. Now you're connected.
Gotcha.
Baba, you there?
Yes.
What is
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Lienhard. For almost 15 years, he's been part of my early morning commute, listening to him on the radio every morning. And you can't miss his voice. You can't miss his voice. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Nice.
Oh, that was nice.
That's very nice. Thank you so much for calling in, Bob. We have another call. This is Larry from Katy. Larry, what's on your mind?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I was on the community advisory board of our Louisville station, WFPL, 20 years ago and tried to get them to pick up the engines of Our Ingenuity. They didn't do it. My question is, how many other stations around the world are picking this up, and does it cost anything? It was free 20 years ago.
Actually, we don't have means for telling you the exact number. We suspect maybe 40 or 50 in the United States, but we can never be sure because there is no reporting back requirement.
Mm-hmm. It's a problem we have with syndicating anything from here, is that there's no way to really gauge it. But I'm sure you have gotten response from people
I get letters
worldwide
from all over the United States. Yeah.
And we did get a text as well. Somebody would like to know, would the station consider compiling all Engines episodes on CD? Would be a great fundraiser item, had been done in the past, but that was a long time ago. 3,000 episodes were just mentioned. I have listened to this since the beginning, and I know there are many of us in the community that would love copies of the history since its beginning. Sounds like your producer, Mark DeClaudio, is going to have a lot of work.
No, wait a minute. Don't quite understand. I mean, you have the Engine's website and everything.
Right, they're all on there.
Yes.
So there you
go. People can go to the Engine's website, and they are all there.
And also on that website, you will find maybe, I think, about 14 CDs that we did as contributor gifts some years ago.
Yeah.
And so you can get all of those, too.
Hey, here's a question. Have you ever done a segment on Leo Fender? Kim is asking. I don't know who Leo Fender is.
Fender?
Leo Fender?
Remind me, who is he?
Well, Ernie will look that up.
I'm looking that up.
In the meantime, when can we catch your next episode?
Well, my next episode is tomorrow,
but that's ChatGPT's
and it's
episode.
not mine. It's ChatGPT.
When does it air, so folks know?
It airs tomorrow at the times the station has 5:45 and 1:34, I think, are the times.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'll check that. I can't find Leo Finder.
Do you think you'll use more of the ChatGPT, or you said it was a one-off?
It's a one-off.
Okay.
Now,
inventor of the Fender guitar, Leo Finder, the Fender guitar.
Well, I'll have to think about Fender. Thank you for.
Well, John, you've been coming to this campus and this station for a long time. What do you think of our new studios?
Oh, your studios are unrecognizable to me. When we first did this, when we edited, do you know how we edited?
Reel to reel?
With a razor blade and paste.
Yep, I bet.
Wow.
I bet.
And now you're also on YouTube.
What?
And now you're on video. It's not just radio, it's video. We have evolved, the engines of our ingenuity.
Let me mention here, Engines of Our Ingenuity airs weekdays on Houston Public Media News 88.7 at 5:44 a.m. and 1:34 p.m. Also Saturdays and Sundays at 8:35 a.m. But on the Engines of Our Ingenuity website, you can find all of the past episodes and little teasers of what's coming next. And I'm looking at the list right here of what's coming up next. Nice. Oh, for the 8th, you have it as to be determined. You don't even list what it is.
Oh, Mark, you got to put that one down. That's the chat.
We know Saturday what it's going to be. We know today what it's going to be, but that ChatGPT is being kept a secret.
We'll fix that.
No, I think it's fun this way.
Question for you. Is it open to the public if they say, hey, John, I really want to do this. Can people email you? And I want to be careful with this because you might end up getting an influx.
They do. And I send them the requirements. And then most of them panic. I mean, there are strict time requirements and strict requirements as to exactly how the wording has to go. There's a lot of stuff
that goes
and it's not an easy process for somebody new.
Have you ever done one on John Jeffries? He's the father of weathermen. Weatherman's Day. He flew in hot air balloons back before anybody else did.
Now, you've just heard Frank's question. A moment ago, people said, where do you get all your ideas? And I said, there are too many out there. You can throw names at me all day, and you will have limited number of hits. Because there is so much out there.
Your future is safe.
Send me an email.
There you go. Frank is going to do that episode.
Do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you my blog. I've blogged on John Jeffries before. But I'll send you the blog. That way you'll have a head start.
Okay.
John, we cannot thank you enough for the contribution you've made, not just to this station, but informing folks and educating in such an enlightening, storytelling way that makes people want to learn. And you really are the what we stand for as an organization, you are as a human being. So thank you. So true.
Nothing.
And happy birthday.
And happy early birthday.
Well, let me just say one more thing about tomorrow's episode, the Chat GPT. I'm doing this one-off as a warning. AI is a tsunami, and let me explain what a tsunami is. A tsunami glides seamlessly across the ocean, maybe hundreds of miles long and a couple of feet high. Nobody knows it's there, but it's there, and it's evolving, and it comes to the shallows, to the shore, and suddenly, in a blink, it is huge, and it's in your face. That is what AI is, and it's the biggest thing that has ever hit us, I am afraid. I'm just very, very leery of what it's going to do to education, to learning, to humankind. We are going to be a different species after this has gone on for a year.
Wow.
What do you
that
think?
tsunami has a way of eating you up, so you're absolutely right.
I'm very, very concerned about what this is and what we will be. It is so seductive. So seductive.
Yeah.
It is like a siren call. You go in, and it's kind to you. It's polite. It's a friend, and you just want to cuddle it.
Yeah. We're looking at AI weather models now. I mean, the Europeans out there as an AI weather model, and I've been told by some people, you know what, AI, you won't need weather people in 5 years, if sooner. Because AI will just do all the weather forecasting.
And we did get a text question for Engine's presenter. I was surprised to hear your age. I would have guessed maybe 30 years younger. To what do you credit your enduring sharpness, the nature of your work, lots of reading, research, or that you have continued working rather than completely retiring?
Well, I think staying active is terribly important, yeah. I mean, you can lie down and die whenever you choose to, I guess.
Well, you look great. You look like you walk every day. So, I mean, you're vertical, that's for sure.
Speaking about laying down, I'm just curious, when you're laying in bed at night, is that when these ideas are popping in? Are they firing off all the time of, I need to do this, I need to do that? Or do you have a more rigid, structured way of approaching it?
No rigid structure.
No.
and you're right. Bedtime is a time when I get a lot of my ideas. Wait a minute, maybe I can,
So I have a little fun fact here. Dr. Lienhard, you worked in the same laboratory as Oppenheimer. Is that right?
No.
Well, that was fun.
Wait a minute. Same lab. Oppenheimer. No, I didn't.
Oh.
That
was
in
my notes.
A graduate thermo course from the inventor of the Fat Man bomb.
Interesting.
That's probably where. See, AI has suddenly turned you into something else.
This wasn't from AI. This was actually from somebody.
Did AI say that?
No.
I'm
Okay.
teasing.
Another fun fact. How about this? You're a musician and a very talented photographer. Is that true?
I love photography. I do a lot of it. Now, I did in my research a million years ago, and today I have a lot of fun going out and shooting moving things.
One of my favorite memories of you is you and I were doing campaign pledge drive on TV, and you had brought in a stack of your photos, and between the breaks we were going through the photos and you were showing them to me, and they were beautiful. And if I'm remembering correctly, would they be of butterflies?
Yeah.
Would there have been the butterfly? It was really fascinating.
But
Did you imagine when you started Engines that this was something that could have lasted as long as it has? Or did you think it would be a couple of years and you'd move on?
I was told that I would, if I was going to do this, I would have to be prepared to do it for a quarter, which is a quarter of a year, which means, I think at the time it was, 60 episodes. I thought, oh my God, I can't do that. But the only way I could do it, so I sat down and did it. And then after the 3 months were up, I was so, we're going to go national.
3,000 plus episodes later, and you're still going strong.
Yeah, well, now understand that I've only done maybe
Someone did suggest you should do an episode on ChatGPT with ChatGPT.
Beg your pardon?
Let ChatGPT do an episode on ChatGPT.
Dr. John Lienhard is the founder of the long-running radio program, The Engines of Our Ingenuity. John, thank you so much for joining us today, and happy early birthday. The Engines of Our Ingenuity airs at 5:45 a.m. during the morning edition and 1:35 during Here and Now. The newest episode airs tomorrow morning.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. And that brings us to the end of our show. We want to thank you for listening, calling in, engaging.
Current Obsessions tomorrow, you and I.
Current Obsessions. Frank, let's do our Current Obsessions tomorrow.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yes.
All right, good.
And we'll be back tomorrow with more conversations. This is News 88.7.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menjivar, Jen Altai, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support comes from UT Health Houston, home to Dr. Ricardo Mascara, who developed a comprehensive care clinic to improve outcomes for children with complex medical needs. More